When HOA Karen called my disabled daughter Emma a freak and said she didn't belong here, I thought her words were the worst thing she could do. I was wrong. 3 minutes after Karen pushed Emma into the flood, military helicopters came. Karen's punishment was about to begin. The rain had been falling for 3 days straight. Our small neighborhood was turning into a lake, but I wasn't worried about the water. I was worried about my 8-year-old daughter Emma, who sat in her wheelchair by the window, watching the storm with wide, curious eyes. Emma was born with cerebral palsy. She couldn't walk, but her spirit was stronger than any storm. Her smile could light up the darkest room, and her laugh was pure magic. She was my everything. "Mommy, look at the ducks." Emma pointed excitedly at 2 ducks swimming in our flooded street. Her voice was soft but filled with wonder. "Yes, sweetheart. They're having fun in their new swimming pool," I said, kissing her forehead. That's when Karen burst through our front door without knocking. Karen Williams was our HOA president. She was a tall, angry woman with sharp eyes and a voice like nails on a blackboard. She hated everyone in the neighborhood, but she especially hated us. Why? Because Emma's wheelchair ramp violated neighborhood beauty standards. "Sarah, this flooding is your fault," Karen screamed, her face red with rage. "What are you talking about?" I asked, stepping between Karen and Emma. "Your stupid wheelchair ramp is blocking the water drainage. The whole street is flooded because of your disabled brat." My blood boiled. "Don't you dare call my daughter names. I'll call her whatever I want. She doesn't belong in this neighborhood. Neither do you." Emma started crying softly. She understood more than people thought. Karen's cruel words cut through her innocent heart like knives. "Please leave," I said firmly. "You're scaring my daughter." "Scaring her? Good. Maybe she'll learn that this world isn't made for freaks like her." That was it. I stepped forward, my hands shaking with anger. "Get out of my house." But Karen wasn't done. She looked at Emma with pure hatred. "You know what? I'm tired of looking at this pathetic sight every day." Before I could react, Karen grabbed Emma's wheelchair and started pushing it toward the door. "Stop!" I screamed, running after them. "What are you doing?" "Solving a problem," Karen snarled. I tried to grab the wheelchair, but Karen was stronger than she looked. She pushed me away and continued wheeling Emma outside into the pouring rain. Emma was crying now, her small hands gripping the wheelchair arms. "Mommy! Help me! Let go of my daughter!" I fought to catch up, but Karen moved fast. The street was flooded with 3 feet of rushing water. It was dangerous for anyone, but for a child in a wheelchair, it was deadly. "Please, Karen. She can't swim. She'll drown." Karen stopped at the edge of the flooding and turned to me with a sick smile. "Exactly." My heart stopped. "You can't be serious. Watch me." With one violent push, Karen shoved Emma's wheelchair into the rushing floodwater. "Emma!" I screamed as my daughter disappeared into the brown, swirling water. I jumped in immediately, fighting against the current. The water was freezing and strong. I could barely see Emma's wheelchair floating away like a toy boat. "Help! Somebody help us!" I screamed as I swam desperately toward my daughter. Emma was panicking, trying to unbuckle her wheelchair straps with her weak hands. Water was already reaching her chest. "Hold on, baby. Mommy's coming." But the current was too strong. Every stroke I took, Emma drifted further away. I was losing her. That's when I heard the helicopters. 3 military helicopters appeared through the storm clouds like angels. The sound was deafening, but it was the most beautiful sound I'd ever heard. The first helicopter hovered directly over Emma. A soldier in full gear rappelled down on a rope, moving like lightning. Within seconds, he had Emma in his arms, lifting her up to safety. The second helicopter landed in our flooded street. 4 soldiers jumped out and formed a human chain to pull me from the water. The third helicopter circled overhead, its searchlight illuminating the chaos below. "Ma'am, are you injured?" a soldier asked as they wrapped me in a thermal blanket. "My daughter, is she okay?" "She's safe. We're taking her to the hospital as a precaution, but she's breathing fine." I looked around for Karen. She was standing on her porch, her face white with shock. She hadn't expected this. "Excuse me," I called to the soldier who seemed to be in charge. "That woman pushed my disabled daughter into the flood on purpose." The soldier's expression hardened. "Show me." I pointed at Karen, who was now trying to sneak back into her house. "Ma'am, stay where you are," the soldier commanded. Karen froze like a deer in headlights. "Is it true you pushed a disabled child into floodwater?" the soldier asked. I was just, she was blocking the drainage." "Answer the question. Yes or no?" Karen's voice cracked. "It was an accident." "We have it all on helicopter camera footage," another soldier said, holding up a tablet. This was attempted murder. Karen's legs gave out. She collapsed on her porch steps. Within minutes, police cars arrived. Even in the flood, they came. Karen was arrested and dragged away in handcuffs, screaming about her rights and how this was all a misunderstanding. But that wasn't the end of Karen's punishment. Not even close. The helicopter footage went viral within hours. The video showed everything: Karen grabbing Emma, pushing her into the flood, and my desperate rescue attempt. The whole world saw Karen's cruelty. News reporters called it the most heartless act ever caught on camera. Karen's face was on every news channel. Her name became synonymous with evil. People sent thousands of hate messages to her social media accounts before they were shut down. But the real consequences were just beginning. Karen worked as a real estate agent. Her company fired her immediately. No one would hire her after that. Her career was destroyed. Her husband divorced her within a week. He took their 2 kids and moved across the country. In court papers, he wrote, "I cannot be married to someone who would try to murder a disabled child." The HOA voted Karen out of her position. Then they voted to remove her from the neighborhood entirely. They changed the rules specifically to kick her out. Karen's house went into foreclosure. She had to sell everything and move into a tiny apartment across town. The criminal charges were serious: attempted murder, child endangerment, assault, and hate crimes. Karen faced 30 years in prison. During the trial, Emma testified. She was so brave, sitting in her wheelchair in front of the judge. "She said I was a freak," Emma told the court in her soft voice. "She said I didn't belong. But Mommy says I'm special, not broken." There wasn't a dry eye in the courtroom. Even the tough judge wiped tears from his eyes. Karen's lawyer tried to argue that she was mentally ill, that the stress of the flood made her crazy. But the helicopter footage showed her calculated cruelty. This wasn't madness. This was pure evil. The jury found Karen guilty on all charges. The judge sentenced her to 25 years in prison without possibility of parole. "Your actions were not just criminal," the judge said. "They were inhuman. You targeted the most vulnerable member of our society, a disabled child, and tried to kill her because of your prejudice. This court has no mercy for such evil." Karen broke down crying as they led her away in shackles. But her tears meant nothing now. The military heroes who saved Emma were honored with medals. The pilot who spotted us in the flood was Captain James Rodriguez. He had a disabled sister of his own, which is why he acted so quickly. "When I saw that little girl in the water, I saw my sister Maria," Captain Rodriguez told reporters. "No child deserves that kind of hatred." Our community rallied around us. They raised money to build Emma a better wheelchair ramp, one that was beautiful and functional. The same neighbors who once complained about our ramp now brought flowers and toys for Emma. Emma became a local hero. Schools invited her to speak about kindness and inclusion. She always ended her speeches the same way: being different doesn't make you less. It makes you more. 6 months later, Emma started swimming lessons at the community pool. The same water that almost killed her became her source of strength. She couldn't walk, but she could swim like a fish. "Look, Mommy. I'm flying." Emma laughed as she glided through the water. "Yes, sweetheart. You're flying." Karen's old house was bought by a family with 3 disabled children. They turned it into a care center for special needs kids. Every day, children who society might reject found love and acceptance in the house where hate once lived. Emma loved visiting the center. She became a big sister to all the younger kids, showing them that their wheelchairs and crutches and differences were not limitations, they were superpowers. One day, we got a letter from prison. It was from Karen. "I'm sorry," she wrote. "I was wrong. I was full of hate and I almost killed an innocent child because of my prejudice. I deserve to be here. I hope Emma can forgive me someday, even though I don't deserve it." Emma read the letter carefully. Then she looked at me with those wise 8-year-old eyes. "Should I forgive her, Mommy?" "That's up to you, sweetheart. Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself, not the person who hurt you." Emma thought for a long moment. Then she smiled. "I forgive her. But I'll never forget." She was right. We would never forget that horrible day when hate tried to drown love. But we also wouldn't forget how love fought back and won. The military still checks on us sometimes. Captain Rodriguez and Emma became pen pals. He sends her pictures from his missions around the world, and she sends him drawings of flying wheelchairs and swimming ducks. The years that followed were filled with unexpected blessings. Emma's story reached international news, and donations poured in from around the world. People wanted to help the brave little girl who survived such cruelty with such grace. We used the money to start the Emma Foundation, helping disabled children and their families. Emma insisted on being involved in every decision, even at her young age. She wanted to make sure no other child would ever feel unwanted because of their differences. The foundation built wheelchair-accessible playgrounds in 12 cities. Each playground had a plaque with Emma's favorite saying, "Different doesn't mean less. It means more." Emma also started a YouTube channel called Wheels and Wonders. She taught other kids that disabilities weren't limitations, they were just different ways of experiencing the world. Her videos got millions of views, and children from every continent sent her letters and drawings. One letter came from a boy in Japan who was born without legs. He wrote, "Emma-chan, you helped me believe I could be happy. Now I want to be a swimmer like you." Emma cried happy tears when she read it. The military heroes who saved Emma became like family to us. Captain Rodriguez visited every few months, bringing stories from his travels and pictures from around the world. He taught Emma basic Spanish, and she taught him how to paint with watercolors. Sergeant Maria Santos, one of the soldiers who pulled me from the water, left the military and became Emma's physical therapist. She helped Emma grow stronger every day, building muscles she would need for her independence. "You're getting too fast for me," I told Emma one day as she raced her new electric wheelchair around our neighborhood. The community had bought it for her 10th birthday. "That's the point, Mommy." Emma laughed, her hair flying behind her like a banner of joy. The neighborhood had completely transformed. Where once there was suspicion and complaints about our ramp, now there were 5 families with disabled children living happily. Our street became known as the most inclusive community in the city. Mrs. Henderson, who used to complain about Emma's wheelchair being noisy, now volunteered at the Emma Foundation 3 days a week. She helped other families navigate insurance and medical appointments. "I was wrong about everything," she told me one afternoon while watching Emma play with the other children. "I thought different meant difficult. But Emma taught me that different means special." The care center that replaced Karen's house became the heart of our community. Children with autism, cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, and other conditions found friendship and acceptance there. Emma was their unofficial leader, organizing games and activities that everyone could enjoy. One day, a news reporter asked Emma what she would say to other disabled children who felt hopeless. Emma thought carefully, her wise eyes serious. I would tell them that the world needs them exactly as they are. We see things differently, we solve problems differently, we love differently. That's not broken, that's beautiful. The reporter wiped away tears. And what about people like Karen, who can't see that beauty? I feel sorry for them, Emma said softly. They're missing out on so much joy because they're too scared to see past the surface. But that's their loss, not ours. Karen sent another letter on Emma's 10th birthday. This time, it was longer and more desperate. Dear Emma, it read, I think about you every day. I see your face in my dreams, but not the way you might think. I see you smiling, playing, being happy despite what I tried to do to you. Your strength haunts me because it shows me how weak I was. I don't expect forgiveness, but I want you to know that watching you succeed from prison gives me the only peace I have. You proved that love is stronger than hate. You won. Emma read the letter aloud to me, her voice steady and clear. She's learning, isn't she, Mommy? Yes, sweetheart. Sometimes it takes losing everything to find what really matters. Should I write her back? I considered this carefully. Only if you want to. What would you say? Emma smiled. I would tell her that it's never too late to choose love over hate. Even in prison, she can choose to help other people instead of hurting them. So Emma wrote back. Her letter was simple but powerful. Dear Karen, I forgive you. Now you need to forgive yourself and use your pain to help others. Love, Emma. That letter changed Karen's life in prison. She started teaching literacy classes to other inmates. She volunteered in the prison medical ward, helping sick prisoners with basic care. For the first time in years, Karen found purpose in helping instead of hurting. Emma is 10 now. She's stronger, braver, and more beautiful than ever. She still can't walk, but she can do something much more important, she can love without limits. Her bedroom walls are covered with pictures and letters from children around the world. Kids who felt alone because of their differences now feel connected to something bigger than themselves. Karen is still in prison. She'll be there for many more years, paying for her moment of pure evil. But something beautiful came from that darkness. She's now helping other people find their way back to humanity. Sometimes I almost feel sorry for the person Karen used to be. Almost. But then I look at Emma, laughing as she races her wheelchair through puddles after the rain, and I remember the truth, love always wins. Always. The floodwater receded long ago. Karen's hate dried up and blew away like dust. But Emma's light still shines, brighter than ever, showing the world that different doesn't mean less. It means more. So much more. And every day, that light grows brighter, touching more lives, changing more hearts, and proving that one small girl's love can overcome any amount of hatred the world throws at her.